Welcome to the Eczema Warrior Podcast. I'm your host, Julia Chien, a registered dietitian who went from struggling with severe eczema, burnout, and stress to healing my body naturally through nutrition and lifestyle changes. Many years ago in my healing journey, I felt stuck and confused about how to heal my skin and my health. Fast forward to today, after many lessons learned and lots of trial and error, I finally cracked the code to seeing lasting healing. If you're someone dealing with chronic symptoms, whether it's eczema, gut issues, or general inflammation, and you desire a life of food freedom and healing without relying on medications, you're in the right place. Here I blend evidence-based nutrition with simple lifestyle and mindset tools to help you reconnect with your body and feel like yourself again. Now let's get into it. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Eczema Warrior Podcast. We are going to be doing audio only podcast episodes for the next few episodes, only because it's been so crazy in our practice, which is all really good. And I don't have a video editor right now, so it does take quite a bit of time to edit a video episode. So we're going to be doing audio. Hope that's okay with you guys. Content is going to be just as good, I promise. It's just that you won't see a video episode on YouTube or on Spotify or wherever you're listening from. And then hopefully the next few weeks, I'll be back with doing video episodes as I'm more settled in, because I'm actually leaving to see my family in Asia for the next few months. So I will be abroad in Asia. I still will be working and creating podcast episodes and seeing clients. And once I'm settled in Asia and I'm not so back-to-back with clients, we can get on with a video episode. So I wanted to do a life update because a lot has happened in the last week. More so that I just attended an allergy conference. I just got back from a 3-day conference in my hometown, Vancouver, by the Canadian Society of Allergy and Clinical Immunology. They have an annual meeting at different parts of Canada every year, but this year they held it in Vancouver, and I learned a lot. It was very clinical, very medical, which is what I love because I'm a nerd at heart. But I learned a lot more about not specifically eczema. They did talk a little bit of eczema, but they mostly focused on asthma and food allergies. So the CSACI is one of the societies in Canada that was founded in 1945. And the society has supported clinical research and education in allergies. So there's a lot of allergists, immunologists, physicians that attend the CSACI. And the sessions were focused on the treatment in the field of allergy and clinical immunology and the research behind the different treatment options when it comes to asthma, MCAS, which is mast cell activation syndrome. They talked about EOE, which is eosinophilic esophagitis, and other rare allergic diseases that honestly I'm not even familiar with. But it was really interesting to see sort of the new medications and the drugs that are coming out to help with people with food allergies, especially in kids. In the pediatric population, there's a lot of kids with severe food allergies that are anaphylactic. So a lot of their research is really looking at how to support patients in managing their allergies, whether it is through OIT, which is oral immunotherapy, a medical treatment for food allergies that involves eating small amounts of the allergen to actually increase tolerance. So this area is actually quite new to me because I see a lot of clients with eczema, as you guys know, who listen to the podcast, but a lot of the times my eczema clients, their allergies are well managed in terms of their food allergies if they have any. A lot of the times my clients have food sensitivities, which is very different than food allergies, and I mostly work with adults. So anyways, I attended this 3-day conference and learned a lot about how prevalent food allergies are, and it's definitely on the rise compared to how it was many years ago, which is interesting because there's links between the environment and genetics as well as the microbiome. So yeah, that was a 3-day conference, and I also got to connect with a lot of allergists in BC, which is really nice because as a dietitian and with my clients who need to see an allergist, having an interdisciplinary team for our clients is really important because as a dietitian, I can help my clients get to the root cause, do GI map, look at their nutrition and lifestyle, but the physician, the allergist, are really the ones that can help to diagnose, administer medications, prescribe medication, and help you do do those sort of food allergy tests that obviously a dietitian isn't able to do. So if you guys have any questions about food allergy and you need more support when it comes to what to do, who to see, and how to manage your food allergies, I can support you in my practice from the nutrition perspective, making sure that you're getting your nutrients in and helping you manage your food allergies and looking at how we can add foods back. And the biggest thing about food allergies is just making sure that my clients are eating enough, because oftentimes people avoid foods because they're scared of having allergic reactions. And if you're looking for a physician and you're based in BC or even in the United States, because I did connect with doctors from there as well, I can always help connect with you guys to the right physician as well. You can shoot me an email in the show notes below. It's a hello@juliachan.ca. Okay, without further ado, let's get into today's episode, which is really, really interesting because it's about polyphenols. Polyphenols are sort of this up and coming thing that a lot of dietitians are talking about, how important it is to eat more polyphenol foods. Now, a lot of times polyphenols doesn't sound like a food, right? It sounds like a clinical term. So I thought I would use this episode to share with you guys exactly what polyphenols are, why they matter, and how it can actually support your gut microbiome, which in turn supports the healing of your skin. So quick little personal story. I used to think that eating fruits and vegetables was just about general health, right? I used to think that eating vegetables and fruit was all you have to do. Just eat vegetables and fruit. Never about like the specifics as to which foods are important and why they are important. And each and every fruit and vegetable has their own nutrients, has their own benefits, and they feed your microbiome and different bacteria in the gut. So I learned over the years of studying and reading research and being a dietitian is that polyphenols specifically can actually help to reduce inflammation and help heal the gut. And so polyphenols, to explain exactly what they're plant-based compounds that are found in fruits and vegetables, specific ones which we'll talk about: tea, coffee, cocoa, and spices. Polyphenols are really important because they are anti-inflammatory and they have antioxidant effects. They also help to support the gut microbiome. Specifically, they feed beneficial bacteria. And this is interesting because as I've been running GI map tests and looking at my client's stool, there are a few key commensal bacteria, which is the bacteria that is good for your gut, that thrive in the presence of polyphenols. And specifically, the bacteria that thrives on polyphenols are the Akkermansia muciniphila. And we can actually see the presence of this bacteria in the GI map and exactly where the levels are at with our patient's stool. And this bacteria, Akkermansia, is really, really important because it helps to support the gut barrier function. So the actual lining of the gut requires Akkermansia for it to be robust and for it to be healthy. Akkermansia resides in the gut lining, and it feeds on the mucins in the intestinal mucus layer, which actually might sound counterintuitive because if it feeds on the mucin, doesn't mean that it degrades the mucin, which is what we don't want when it comes to the gut mucosal layer, but that's actually not what is happening. It feeds on the mucin to actually stimulate the gut to produce more mucus. As a result, it strengthens the gut barrier, which is why on the GI map, we want to see good levels of Akkermansia because that tells us that there's sufficient amount of mucus, and we need mucus in order to keep the gut mucosal layer strong and robust to prevent pathogens from entering through the gut lining and into the bloodstream, which then causes systemic inflammation. So in other words, we need the Akkermansia to enhance the integrity of our gut barrier and reducing the intestinal permeability, aka leaky gut. Now, in turn, when you have a healthy mucus layer, it supports the modulation of your immune system. And we now know with a lot of research that the bacteria in your gut, the good microbes, help to modulate the immune system and reduces overall inflammation. And it really does protect us from chronic inflammation of all kinds, whether it's eczema, psoriasis, acne, gut issues, bloating, constipation, gut infections, SIBO, H. pylori, all of those sorts of symptoms that can happen when your gut mucosal lining is compromised. Now, going back to the importance of polyphenols, they feed the good bacteria. Akkermansia is not the only bacteria that it feeds. It also feeds other beneficial bacteria like bifidobacterium, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard about, lactobacillus, and short-chain fatty acid producing species. So in turn, when you feed these good bacteria, it increases microbial diversity. And having good gut health is all about microbial diversity. And we do that from eating foods that are rich in polyphenols, but also prebiotics, which is the food that feeds the good bacteria. Now, when you're feeding the good microbes with fiber and polyphenols, the bacteria produces something called short-chain fatty acids, which are metabolites that help to modulate inflammation and gut integrity. So again, it explains and justifies how important it is to include more of those polyphenol-rich foods in your diet, which we will talk about the exact foods very shortly. But I do want to mention what else happens when your bacteria levels are low, specifically Akkermansia. So when you have less Akkermansia, which again we can see on the GI map. By the way, if you guys want to run a GI map and you want to look at your microbiome in depth, this is something that we do in our practice. We can run GI map, look at your microbes. It really is an amazing tool to look at your root causes as well, especially if you've done a lot of things and you're still having symptoms and you really want to do a deep dive of your microbiome. GI map is the way to go. I'll leave the link below in the show notes if you would like to do a GI map test with me, and then we can also do an interpretation session as well. Okay, so when you have less Akkermansia, you're going to have less of the stimulation of the mucus, which I mentioned. And as a result, you're going to have a thinner gut barrier. When you have a thinner gut barrier, this increases intestinal permeability, leaky gut, and then it will allow bacteria, toxins, and even partially digested food to enter the bloodstream. This is why people will start to experience symptoms on the skin, symptoms in the gut, food sensitivities, even food allergies, because their gut is permeable and things that are normally supposed to stay within the gut are ending up in the bloodstream. Low Akkermansia is also linked to other disorders like insulin resistance, diabetes, obesity, and metabolic inflammation in general. Now for the sources of polyphenols. The best way to remember where to get your polyphenols, look at your fridge and identify which foods are rich in red and blue. Because foods that are rich in red and blue are going to be your polyphenol-rich foods. Blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, red potatoes, cherries, pomegranate, red peppers. Those are your foods that are going to give you a lot of polyphenols. You can also find polyphenols in green tea. So if you're a green tea drinker in the morning, then you definitely are having some polyphenols into your usual diet. Cocoa also has polyphenols as well. So if you like dark chocolate or you have a hot chocolate here and there, then you'll get a little bit of polyphenols in that as well. And other foods like grapes, apples, onions, turmeric, cinnamon, and cloves are also sources of polyphenols. Coffee actually has polyphenols as well. So there are benefits to drinking coffee as long as you're not having, multiple cups of coffee a day. But coffee does have some benefits in terms of the polyphenol amount. I always say that with polyphenols, you do want to focus on foods with fiber because you get the fiber benefits and you also get the polyphenol benefits as well. So those are your fruits and vegetables, your berries, your apples, your grapes. So a good way to start including more of these polyphenol-rich foods into your diet is just adding to your everyday meals what you're already eating. For example, in the morning, if you are making a smoothie or you're making yogurt or an oatmeal or a piece of toast, whatever your breakfast is currently, add some berries to them, whether it's on the side or into your actual meal with your yogurt or your oatmeal. Maybe a few times a week, you want to have some green tea, or you want to sprinkle some cinnamon onto your coffee or into your actual breakfast. And then for lunch and dinner, it's really just about focusing on color. If you're making a meal for lunch and dinner and you always have broccoli, maybe you want to switch it up. I mean, broccoli has polyphenols as well, but again, it's about the color, right? So adding some onions, bell peppers, some carrots. Try to think about the colors of the rainbow when we're thinking about adding more polyphenol-rich foods. So your homework for this episode or after listening to this episode is I want to challenge you guys to add 3 new polyphenol-rich foods this week if you haven't already. Now, if you already feel like you're eating a lot of polyphenol-rich foods, that's great. Maybe there's one or two that you can add more into your diet. And don't forget that even if these changes seem very minimal, it goes a long way. It can have a big impact on your gut, skin, and your overall health. We're not talking about like, oh, I eat this vegetable, I should see my skin heal. That's going to be a whole other topic if we're focusing too much about the result. But generally speaking, when you're making these small tweaks, changes into your diet, and let's say you do have a GI map that you've ran in the past, and you're increasing these sort of polyphenol-rich foods, you should be able to see your Akkermansia levels improve with making these changes to your diet. And if you have any questions, if you need more support when it comes to your diet, you're struggling with how to include nutrient-dense foods in your diet, maybe you have allergies and you just want, a dietitian on your team to help you with this is exactly what we do in our practice. We help people with their diet, with their chronic symptoms, with eczema, with gut issues, whatever it is that you're looking to work on, we can definitely help you. You can book a free discovery call in my show notes below. There's a small application form for you to fill out so I can better understand what your goals are and exactly what you're looking for. And then we can talk about how we can potentially work together. Okay, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And the next episode, actually, we're going to be recording our next episode in Southeast Asia because we're going in the next week here. I'm super excited for my travels. So yeah, stay tuned and we will see you in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Now, before I let you go, I want to let you know I have this amazing eczema visualization. This visualization has helped me so much when it comes to manifesting eczema healing flares faster than I can ever imagine, reducing the itch, and just feeling great in my body. This is the exact same visualization I use for my own healing as well as my clients' healing as well. And if you want to receive this visualization, then all you have to do is leave us a review, tell us what you think about the podcast, screenshot it, send it to your email at hello@juliachen.ca, and you will receive the visualization to your inbox. I look forward to seeing your review, and we will see you in the next episode.